And hello, welcome back to the Daily Edge. Just a little news, a little motivation, get us going through the rest of our day here. Um, yeah, you guys want any specific news or anything like that? Jump in, throw it in the comments, I'll look it up. But let's start with some world news. What's going on with the world today? The day after Thanksgiving.
Here are the top world news stories today, November 28th. In short, factual bullet points. Global health. The World Health Organization, WHO, issued its first ever global guideline on infertility, calling for more affordable and equitable fertility care worldwide. International tragedy. The death toll continues to rise from the massive high-rise fire in Hong Kong, which has been described as the deadliest blaze in decades. Geopolitics. U.S. President Donald Trump stated that land action against Venezuelan drug networks is coming soon, following recent counter-narcotics airstrikes. Economic markets. Global markets are showing mixed results in light trading volumes due to the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday, with investors awaiting next week's economic data. South Asia weather. Cyclone Ditwa is intensifying in the Bay of Bengal and is forecasted to hit the coasts of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh in India by November 30th. Would you like
Yeah, what's the death toll in Hong Kong now on the skyscrapers that burned down?
The death toll from the massive high-rise fire in the Westwood Court complex in Hong Kong has risen to 128. Authorities have stated that as many as 200 people remain unaccounted for, and search and rescue operations have concluded. 3 construction company executives and 5 others have been arrested in connection with the fire, which is suspected to have spread quickly due to issues with external scaffolding and flammable materials used during renovations. Would you like a short, powerful, motivational message to pair with this news segment?
No. U.S. President Donald Trump starts land act against Venezuela drug network. What does get a little more in depth with the Venezuela drug network thing? Let's learn. Let's learn today, guys. Let's learn some stuff.
Here's a short, factual breakdown of the Venezuela drug network situation and the planned U.S. action. U.S. action on Venezuelan drug networks. What was announced? On Thursday, President Trump told U.S. service members the military will very soon begin taking action to stop suspected Venezuelan drug traffickers by land, expanding the current operations. Current Action C, the U.S. has been conducting maritime counter-narcotics operations, designated as Operation Southern Spear, for months. These strikes have targeted vessels in the Caribbean and Pacific, resulting in at least 21 separate attacks and more than 80 fatalities. Administration claim. The administration claims that maritime drug flows have decreased by around 85% due to these sea-based strikes, which is why they are now focusing on land routes. Targeted group. The primary target is the Cartel de los Soles, Cartel of the Suns, which the U.S. has designated as a foreign terrorist organization and accuses of operating within the Venezuelan military and government. Tensions. The announcement escalates tensions, as Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro denies any involvement in drug trafficking and accuses the U.S. of using the anti-drug campaign as a pretext for aggressive action against his country. This situation has a strong theme of consequence and decisiveness. Would you like a motivational tie-in focused on the power of decisiveness to use for your transition?
If that's how the Venezuelan president feels, why don't they just take out the cartel?
That is the core conflict in the situation, and the answer, according to the U.S. and many analysts, is that Maduro and his government are deeply involved in and benefit from the network. Here is the short factual breakdown. U.S. allegation. The U.S. government asserts that the group, which they call the Cartel de los Soles, Cartel of the Suns, is not a traditional cartel, but a network of corrupt officials and military figures who use their state power to facilitate drug trafficking. Leadership claim. The U.S. specifically alleges that President Nicolas Maduro himself leads this network, along with other high-ranking government and military officials. System of control. This system allegedly grew under the previous administration and has become a patronage network. Maduro's control is secured by allowing these powerful military figures to profit from illegal activities like drug trafficking and illegal mining, ensuring their loyalty to him. Venezuela's denial. Maduro's government categorically denies the existence of the Cartel de los Soles, calling the U.S. claims a ridiculous fabrication intended to justify an illegal intervention and regime change. In essence, the U.S. position is that Maduro cannot take out the cartel because the government is the top of the criminal network, while Maduro's position is that the cartel doesn't exist and the U.S. is lying to start a conflict. This topic highlights the difficulty of identifying and confronting the source of a problem. Would you like a motivational tie-in about the...
But isn't there clear drugs coming from Venezuela to the United States and other places?
That is correct. It is clear that drugs are being trafficked out of Venezuela. Here's the short, factual information on the drug flow. Transit hub. Venezuela is a major transit country for narcotics, primarily cocaine, due to its porous 1,400-mile border with Colombia, the world's largest coca producer, and its long Caribbean coastline. Primary destination. While the U.S. is the stated target of the U.S. military operations, the vast majority of cocaine is trafficked along Western Caribbean and Eastern Pacific routes. Percentage estimate. The DEA has estimated that historically, only about 8% to 10% of U.S.-bound cocaine departs via Venezuela's Eastern Caribbean coast. Maduro's government claims it is as low as 5%. Key routes. Cocaine is moved through Venezuela using air routes. Flights often depart from states bordering Colombia, heading to Central America. Maritime routes. Large cargo containers, fishing vessels, and go-fast boats move drugs through the Caribbean to the U.S., Western Africa, and Europe. Facilitation. U.S. authorities allege that the traffickers are primarily Colombian groups like FARC dissidents who operate with the consent and assistance of high-ranking Venezuelan officials and military personnel. This disparity in what you see versus what is being publicly stated brings up the importance of looking past the obvious narrative. Would you like a short motivational quote or tip on the theme?
No, and I don't want motivational stuff on everything. Okay, so let's see what how that all unfolds. So that was Hong Kong. That was Venezuela. What's going on with health research?
The health research landscape is highly active, focused on several major breakthroughs and transformative technology trends. Major breakthroughs: regenerative medicine. A recent study found that blocking a gerozyme protein, 1,5-PGDH, involved in aging regenerates cartilage in the knee joints of old mice in human tissue samples. This suggests a potential oral or injectable treatment for osteoarthritis, which could make joint replacement unnecessary. Cancer detection.
Nice.
A promising multi-cancer early detection blood test is showing encouraging results. In a trial, adding the test to routine screening significantly increased overall cancer detection, and more than half of the cancers detected were in early stages. It was also surprisingly accurate in pinpointing the origin of the cancer signal. Alzheimer's research. New research is finding clues about the disease, including the discovery of brain cells that could stop Alzheimer's, and the finding that a simple amino acid supplement greatly reduces Alzheimer's damage in models. Top technology.
Okay, let's do Alzheimer's research. What is the amino acid?
The amino acid that recently showed promising results in reducing Alzheimer's damage in animal models is arginine. Here are the key findings from that research. Mechanism of action: arginine, which is a naturally occurring amino acid, was found to successfully suppress the aggregation of toxic amyloid beta, A-beta, proteins. Amyloid plaques are a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. Results in models. In both fruit fly and mouse models of Alzheimer's disease, oral administration of arginine significantly reduced the accumulation of amyloid plaques and alleviated some of the related toxic effects, including improved behavioral performance and reduced neuroinflammation. Potential benefit. The researchers highlighted that arginine is clinically safe and inexpensive, making it a highly promising candidate for faster transition to human clinical trials as a potential therapeutic option for Alzheimer's disease. It's important to note that this is still in the animal model stage of research, and the specific dosage and delivery method used in the study differ from commercial supplements. Would you like to know more about the other recent finding? The brain cells that could stop Alzheimer's?
Brain cells. Brain cells that could stop Alzheimer's. Sure, hit me up with the brain cells stopping Alzheimer's.
The most recent and exciting discovery involves astrocytes, which are star-shaped support cells in the brain. Researchers have found that the brain may have a built-in mechanism to fight Alzheimer's by activating these astrocytes and turning them into cleaners. The astrocyte cleaner mechanism, the protective cells are astrocytes, a type of glial cell, which perform essential tasks like facilitating communication and memory storage in the brain.
Okay.
The protein. By activating a specific protein called SOX9, researchers were able to switch on the astrocytes. The action. When SOX9 production was boosted in mouse models of Alzheimer's, the astrocytes became significantly more effective at ingesting and clearing out the toxic amyloid plaques, the harmful deposits linked to memory loss. The researchers described this process as the astrocytes acting, quote, like a vacuum cleaner. The result. This enhanced cleanup process not only cleared existing plaques, but also protected the mice's memory and cognitive function, even in those that already had Alzheimer's-like symptoms. This suggests that therapies could be developed to strengthen the astrocyte's natural cleanup ability, offering a new direction for treatment that focuses on clearing the existing damage rather than just preventing new plaques from forming. I also found some compelling research on microglia, the brain's immune cells, that can act as protectors. Would you like a quick summary of those findings as well?
Oh, I'm supposed to keep doing it. Write some rap over it. I don't know. All right, let's see. I'm looking into. There's a lot of AI technology. Anything new in the AI world?
The AI world is rapidly transforming health research, primarily focusing on two major areas: accelerating drug discovery and revolutionizing diagnosis and risk prediction. Here are the most significant recent developments. 1. Accelerated drug discovery. AI is dramatically compressing the time it takes to find new treatments, a process that traditionally takes over a decade. De novo drug design, generative AI models, are now being used to design entirely new molecular structures for drugs. For example, the first drug development where both the target and the compound were discovered using generative AI has been achieved, taking the process from years to about 18 months for the drug to reach clinical trials. Protein structure prediction. Tools like Google's AlphaFold continue to be foundational, accurately predicting the 3D structure of proteins from their amino acid sequences. This is critical for understanding how diseases work and designing molecules that can bind to those proteins to stop them. Identifying targets, AI, analyzes complex multi-omics data, genomics, proteomics, etc., to quickly identify the specific biological targets that drugs should aim for, greatly speeding up the initial research phase. 2. Revolutionizing diagnosis and risk prediction. AI models can analyze massive data sets, from scans to patient histories, with a speed and accuracy that surpasses human limitations. Early cancer detection and risk scoring. AI models are being developed to analyze medical images, like mammograms, X-rays, and CT scans, and predict cancer risk more accurately than traditional methods like breast density assessment.
Okay.
These models can spot subtle patterns unseen by the human eye. Multi-cancer early detection, MCED blood tests are integrating AI to analyze complex signals like cell-free DNA in the blood, helping to detect multiple types of cancer before symptoms appear. Predicting disease aggressiveness. Researchers are using AI to predict tumor stemness, a key indicator of how aggressive a cancer is and the risk of recurrence, by analyzing molecular data. This helps oncologists better plan personalized treatment, speeding rare disease diagnosis. New AI models, such as POP-EVE, analyze a patient's entire genome to score genetic variants and predict their likelihood of causing a rare disease. This has the potential to shave years off the diagnostic journey for patients with rare single-variant genetic conditions. 3. Clinical and operational efficiency. Clinical decision support, AI, helps clinicians by quickly synthesizing patient histories and symptoms before a virtual consult, suggesting possible diagnoses and flagging critical information to enhance the efficiency of medical personnel. Administrative relief. Tools like Dragon Copilot, Microsoft, and Google's Health AI suite use large language models, LLMs, to listen to and generate notes on clinical consultations, reducing the administrative burden on doctors. Would you be interested in a brief summary of the microglia, brain's immune cells, research in Alzheimer's, or would you like to hear about new developments in wearable tech for health?
This technology converts the patient-clinician conversation, audio.
Other phone picked it up. All right. Yeah, let's jump into some national news and anything I missed on that.
National news update. The national news is heavily focused on the fallout from a shooting near the White House, political responses, and the lingering economic effects of a recent government shutdown. Key political and security developments. National Guard shooting. The major story involves a shooting near the White House where 2 West Virginia National Guard members were shot, tragically resulting in the death of one, Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. The suspect, an Afghan national who had worked with the CIA, is facing murder charges.
Wow.
Immigration crackdown. President Trump has responded to the incident by announcing he will seek to permanently pause migration from third world countries and will step up efforts to expel millions of immigrants by revoking their legal status. His administration is conducting sweeping immigration reviews. Trump's approval rating. A recent Gallup poll shows the president's job approval rating has dropped to 36%, the lowest of his second term, with disapproval at 60%. This drop follows the longest federal government shutdown in U.S. history and gains for Democrats in off-year elections. High-profile resignations. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced she will resign from Congress in January, citing frustration that the legislative branch has been sidelined. Georgia election case. The criminal racketeering case against Donald Trump and co-defendants in Georgia has been dismissed following a filing by the newly appointed state prosecutor. Economic and financial news. Post-shutdown economy. The longest ever federal government shutdown officially ended on November 12th, but its effects are still being felt. Consumer confidence has tumbled to its lowest level since April, largely due to worries about the job market and household finances. Federal Reserve outlook. The Federal Reserve cut its benchmark rate by 25 basis points in October to 3.75% minus 4.00%. Amid a slowing labor market and sticky inflation, around 3.0%, there is an active debate among officials about whether another rate cut is warranted in December. Mixed stock market signals. While the S&P 500 is up over 12% for the year, driven mainly by a small group of high-performing AI-focused technology stocks, smaller companies are showing lackluster results and are hit harder by the slowing economy and import tariff increases. Would you like more details on the immigration policy changes being proposed, or the current economic indicators like inflation and interest rates?
No, I kind of want to know a little more about the National Guard shooting. The Afghan national who worked with the CIA. Can you explain that a little more?
This was a high-profile, brazen attack that took place just blocks from the White House and has significant political and security implications. Here's a breakdown of the incident, the victims, and the suspect. The incident and victims, when and where. The ambush-style shooting occurred on a Wednesday afternoon in a busy corridor in downtown Washington, D.C., near the White House complex. The attack. The suspect, who allegedly drove across the country from Washington state to carry out the attack, suddenly opened fire with a .357 Smith & Wesson revolver on 2 National Guard members who were on patrol. The victims. Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, 20, from the West Virginia National Guard, was tragically killed. Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, 24, also from the West Virginia National Guard, was critically wounded and remains hospitalized. Suspect in custody. The suspect was shot during the incident, reportedly by a 3rd National Guard member, and was taken into custody with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect and his CIA ties. Identity. The suspected shooter is identified as Ramanullah Lakhanwal, 29, an Afghan national who was living in Washington state. Entry to the U.S. Lakhanwal entered the U.S. in September 2021 under the Operation Allies Welcome Program, which evacuated and resettled tens of thousands of Afghans following the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. He was granted asylum earlier this year. CIA connection. The CIA confirmed that Lakhanwal previously worked with the U.S. government, including the CIA, as a member of a partner force in Kandahar. Sources familiar with the matter indicate he was part of one of the CIA's Zero units, Afghan paramilitary forces trained to conduct counterterrorism missions. Motive and charges. Authorities are treating this as a targeted attack. The motive is still under investigation, though some reports suggest investigators are looking into the theory that Lakanwal may have been suffering from paranoia and mental health challenges and believed authorities sought to deport him. He currently faces charges of first-degree murder for the death of Specialist Beckstrom and assault with intent to kill while armed, among other weapons charges. Political fallout. The incident has immediately fueled the national debate over immigration policy. Administration response. President Trump called the shooting an act of terror and criticized the policies under which the suspect entered the country. Policy changes. Following the shooting, the White House announced an order to permanently pause migration from third world countries and to conduct a re-examination of all Afghan nationals who came to the U.S. through the Operation Allies Welcome program. Would you like more details on the political response and the specific immigration policy changes President Trump is seeking to implement?
Well, I don't know. That's quite coincidental because that's what he's trying to do to begin with. Everything's kind of a show and put in place, and yeah. Let's move on to some local. What do we got for local news today? That's a good
switch. Focusing on your local area of Fairmont, Minnesota, the major headline today is the weather, along with some local community announcements. Here's a summary of the local news for Friday, November 28th, 2025. Top story, winter storm warning issued. The biggest news affecting the area is a major storm system moving in. Warning, a winter storm warning is in effect for Fairmont and other southern Minnesota counties. Forecast, the National Weather Service is predicting a long-duration event starting Friday evening and continuing through early Sunday morning. Accumulation, the Fairmont area along the I-90 corridor has the highest potential for snow, with 6 to 10 inches possible. Impact, travel is expected to be difficult, especially on Saturday, due to the prolonged snowfall. Recent accident, Highway 15 crash. An accident involving 5 vehicles occurred on Tuesday on State Highway 15 at Torgerson Drive. A 91-year-old man from Arizona suffered life-threatening injuries in the crash. Wet road conditions were reported at the time. Community and civic news. Water testing. Free well water testing for nitrates, chlorides, and arsenic is being offered to South Central Minnesota citizens who use private wells. The testing will take place on December 4th at the Knights of Columbus from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Holiday programs. The Salvation Army in Fairmont is launching its holiday programs, including the Angel Tree and Bell Ringers, to help families in need. Police Chief Retirement. Fairmont Police Chief Michael Hunter is retiring at the end of this month after more than 27 years with the department, including 9 years as chief. Local events. A Santa workshop event is planned for Sunday, November 30th in Sherburne. Given the weather forecast, would you like to check the latest road conditions in the Fairmont area before the storm picks up?
Yeah, what's the road conditions from here to Mankato until 8 o'clock tonight?
The current driving conditions from Fairmont to Mankato appear to be normal, but be aware of the developing storm. I found one driving route. Route. Take Minnesota 15 north, Highway 15, S, and Minnesota 60 east. Distance, 52.2 miles. Duration, approximate.
See, when is the bad weather supposed to come roll in?
The bad weather is expected to begin rolling in early this evening, around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Here are the key details for the timeline in the Fairmont area. Winter storm warning start. The official winter storm warning for your county, Martin, and the surrounding counties, including Blue Earth, Mankato, is in effect starting at 6 p.m. tonight, Friday. Initial snowfall. Forecast suggests snow and flurries will begin in the late afternoon, but the heavy accumulating snow is expected to start building up significantly after 6 p.m. Impact. Authorities are specifically warning that the hazardous conditions will impact the Friday evening commute. Duration. The storm is a long-duration event expected to continue with heavy snow throughout Saturday and taper off late Saturday night / early Sunday morning. If you are planning to travel to Mankato, leaving as soon as possible is highly recommended to avoid the worst of the conditions that will develop between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Okay, well, that's shitty. Okay. Let's wrap all this up. Let's get some motivation.
That sounds like a great way to transition. You've navigated a lot today, from breakthrough health research and complex national events to a looming winter storm. Here is some motivation to help you power through your travel and finish your week strong. Motivation. Embracing the challenge. The world of health research shows us that seemingly impossible problems like Alzheimer's can be broken down and solved through persistent effort, one amino acid, one brain cell, one AI algorithm at a time. Your own journey, whether it's the drive to Mankato or tackling a major goal, is no different. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. Negatish J. M. Barry. Focus on the next turn. Don't let the thought of 10 inches of snow or a distant goal overwhelm you. Just like the scientist focusing on the next experiment, focus only on the next necessary step. Be your own guide. You have the knowledge and the capability to safely make that drive or execute your plan. Trust your preparation and your judgment. The power of small wins. Every mile safely driven, every task completed, is a significant victory. Recognize and appreciate those small wins as they build momentum toward your larger success. You are equipped to handle the current conditions and whatever comes next. Drive safe and have a productive end to your week. Is there anything else I can help you check before you head out? Like
I
the
think
weather
that's
in
going to do
Mankato
it.
itself?
No, that's going to do it. Thanks there, Gemini. Everybody just remember, the moment you doubt whether you can fly, okay, you cease forever to be able to do it. Don't forget and don't stop. You can fly. All right, that's going to do it for me today, guys. Thanks for stopping in. Peace.